Hi, this is Lindsay with Birmingham Art Crawl. I am here today with Miriam. We're going to be
Hi.
talking a bit about. Hi, Miriam. It's so you. Um, we're going to be talking a little bit about her creativity and her process and what she's been up to. So, Miriam, do you have anything you want to say just right off the jump?
Um, I don't know. This right now is into 2020 is a weird year. I know I've been struggling with creativity in the normal vein that I work in. So I've been trying to do things in other areas or just doing whatever feels comfortable and not trying to put pressure on myself to make certain things or I don't know. So I've been jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
And I
I
don't know.
think you're not alone there. And I think that creative people, especially when creative people are home,
Mhm.
it's sort of like creativity can start to manifest itself in all kinds of different ways, beyond just like your artwork. Like all of
Yeah.
a sudden, your walls, you have to rearrange your furniture and, you want to paint every room in your house and maybe you need new tile and
Yeah.
you can really start, you can go there with it.
Yeah.
So, how do you define creativity in your life, really?
I think creativity it's so many different things, not just visual art. There's written word, there's physical movement in dance, there's just everything, like even cooking. And I think a lot of people think they're not creative or they don't have that like creativity in them or that artistic bent in them, but they do, and they just don't realize where it is or it comes out in an area that they don't consider to be
Mhm.
art.
Well, so many, I think, decisions that we just make in everyday life, like, and I just glanced over at my planner just
Mhm.
now. 'Cause I'm a freak like that. But I have a blue pen out. And like when somebody is sitting at their office or at their home or whatever, and they make the choice to choose a blue pen over a red pen or a
Yeah,
black pen over a green pen or whatever, that's creativity.
yeah, yeah. Even
It's
in like
just the
clothing, like
smallest decisions
yeah,
that we make.
yeah, yeah. People don't. Yeah, it's small things like what you wear. Some
Yeah.
people are
What
really
earrings
good at
you wear.
putting outfits together. I am not. That is not where my creativity
You
exists.
look great. Look,
But
it
some
says
people,
caution. That's so
yeah.
hardcore. You're so hardcore, Miriam. So, when was the first time that you realized that you were a creative person, or that what inspired you to become a creative person?
I don't really know. It feels like I was always doing something creative my whole life. And anytime I've tried to veer away from that and do something that isn't in the creative field, I always end up curving back to it. Or I try to take a non making role in the creative world, and I end up going back to making stuff. So I don't know when that actually came out of me. I think it's
Mhm.
just always been there. It's been I feel like it's been encouraged by my family,
Yeah.
and nurtured to like yeah. I
I
just
have
don't know.
a I have a lot of artists in my family as well, and I think that there is. I've asked this question to a number of artists, but in different ways about sort of how they feel about where their art career began, or how they started, or when they knew, or well, like what I just asked you, basically. And I think that none of them really have an answer. They're all like it was just always that way, and so I find that to be really intriguing. So I just, what do you think about, human nature versus, having creativity be something that is learned, because I grew up around people who were artistic, but I don't sit around and make art. You know what I mean?
I
And
think
I do.
there's something that's in everybody. to be creative, and I think it's whether you are encouraged or it's nurtured or you're allowed to develop that. I think I've seen lots of people that are really creative and really good artists, but there's something that's like stifled in them, and I think that's placed there by society, by people saying, oh, you shouldn't do art, that's not going to make you any money. And I don't know.
I think a lot of people say that, and I think that that's not true. I definitely think that's not true, because and what I do, I know a lot of people who make a living as artists, you know, maybe not 100%, but, you know, a sustainable living as an artist, you know, and it's definitely possible. So that's a lie.
Yeah, it is a lie.
Fake news. Right. So how did you choose your creative outlet? You know, like, what did you start out doing, and then like look at you now, like what's happening?
So I think I started off in that typical area of drawing and painting where most people do. And then when I was in college, and just before college, I thought, oh, sculpture, like 3D, like I'm going to do like sculpture. But then I accidentally took a textile class, and it just
accidentally.
Well, it was like my third choice.
Okay.
Like you like electives, and it's like the bottom one, like I guess I've got to put a third one down, and that's the one that I got put in. Right. And then I ended up really liking it, and that ended up becoming my major instead of sculpture. And I don't know, it's just it's an area that I think it's sometimes seen as domestic, but there's lots of fine art in textiles.
Absolutely.
And I go from one end to the other end. I make functional stuff, I do fine art stuff, and then I jump around in other mediums as well, because I don't know, I just need to. Yeah.
Well, no, I think that that's sort of fun as an artist too, sort of like taking a break from a painting and making something with ceramics. Or, you know, I think it's important to sort of like, I don't know, I like mixed media stuff personally. So for me, I like to know a little bit about everything. That's just works. So of all the things that you've made or been a part of, what is your favorite accomplishment?
I don't know that maybe it's this is a hard question. Maybe it's just deciding to be an artist, and making that decision for myself, that it's not necessarily like an award or a piece of artwork, but just being like, no, you are an artist. That is what you wanted to be as a little kid. That's what you want to do now, and just acknowledging that and accepting that.
I think that a lot of people, unfortunately, either have to or try to fight what it is that they really want to do, whatever it is, artist or something else, to do what they feel like they need to do or have to do, you know. And so when you're able to accept what it is that you want to do and make it, you know, something special is an accomplishment. I know what that feels. So congratulations.
Thanks.
So speaking of creativity and all of that, creativity can be tough sometimes too, especially now. I feel like when we're all sort of like stuck at home, or like the world has stopped turning, but yet it's all madness everywhere you look. And how artists are sort of dealing with this sort of weird moment in time. Do you have any creative blocks, and how have you been dealing with those creative blocks?
I have felt a block this whole time. I have felt stunted in my ideas, just stunted in wanting to make, or it's a weird pressure. It's like, I have all this time to make that I normally am not afforded because so many other things in my life have been cut out and I can't do them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel frozen with it, like a paralyzed, freezy, frozen, whatever, because I'm thinking about everything else that's going on in the world, and I
Mm-hmm.
have this luxury, and I shouldn't waste it, and
Mm-hmm.
it just freezes me.
Sometimes it does not feel like a luxury. And I think that a lot of people, once upon a time, maybe were like, wouldn't it be nice if we could just like be at the house all day and like
Right.
what we needed to do or wanted to do? And like, here we are, LOL. It wasn't that fun.
Yeah. I think it's the circumstances of that. There's like so
Right.
much social and
The choice
political
of
and
it. And it's
everything else. Yeah.
just,
Um,
so yeah, it's just everything too much.
yeah. So
Imagine that.
what I've tried to do with that is just make things and not necessarily with a set goal. So I've been doing a little bit of quilting. I've taught myself how to knit. I've been just doing small paintings, which actually these small house paintings at memory houses comes out
Yes.
of
And
that
I
because
want
it
to
was
talk
something,
about that.
yeah, I could do one a day
Mhm.
and it didn't feel like a big project. It
Commitment.
didn't feel like it had to be monumental and like a, I don't know. It just felt like it was something I could accomplish and also get
Yeah.
something out of me.
Right. No, I think that that's a great thing to do. I was actually doing that in the mornings like I used to do, like back when I was a kid, and when I was like 13, I get every magazine in the house and throw it all over the floor and find big sheets of paper and just glue stuff down and then post, wallpaper my walls with it and, all kinds of whatever. And I was doing that
Yeah.
last month probably in my living room, just going back to my roots and digging out my everything and having
Yeah.
fun with
Yeah.
it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's, yeah.
And it not really meaning anything.
Hmm.
Well, for me, I'm not speaking for you, but for what I was doing, it didn't really mean anything for me.
Hmm.
I put it up and just put it away, and I just made something, But can we see a memory?
Yeah. So this is one right here. Let me see. There we go.
Oh, yes.
So
Okay,
they're
I
really
haven't seen that
small.
one.
And this is, so what I did was I started thinking about all the places that I've lived in my life, and just started trying to paint them from memory, but not not necessarily trying to remember every detail, but remember the things about that house that struck me.
Mhm,
So for some, it's like it just
mhm,
might be the color of the door, which is like a tiny little thing in there, or you know, trying to remember which way the roof went, or was it
mhm.
this color or that color, like things that you don't realize you forget, and it's a space that you've lived
Yeah,
in for a long time.
right.
Even the house that I'm living in now, I did a memory painting of that, and I got stuff wrong, like, and I see that house every day. um but it's
That's
just like
wild. Yeah.
how you remember things,
Mhm,
and the way your memory works is different from how you see things and what you see, and what when you do look
mhm.
at things, what things you actually are taking in and what things you're ignoring, and then what things in your memory you change.
Oh,
um
that's so inspiring. It makes me want to do it. It makes me want to try to figure out if I can remember what, because I'm imagining, places that I lived as a kid or in the
yeah.
past and what that would look like. And when I'm sort of like walking the perimeter or thinking about the space, I'm remembering that bush and running past that bush or,
Right.
stepping on something and hurting my foot, like stuff like that
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes there's
comes to
things that
you.
are, it's a smell or a feel of a house
Mhm. Mhm.
rather than what it actually looks like, and I can't capture that in a little painting, but it was just an exercise for me to be creative and be making something. And then I was also,
They mean something to you, though. I mean, you look
yeah,
at them and see something
yeah.
very
And
special.
I started thinking about home and memory homes just because everyone's kind of stuck at home. And there's positive things to that and there's negative things, and people feel safe and people don't feel safe. And although, you know, like this, so there's lots of layers to it. So these little houses have like little bits of text on them.
Okay.
And it's just a little comment or memory or something about that place.
Right.
And some of them are positive, some of them are neutral, and some of them are negative. Or it can be taken in those different ways.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's lots of different things that kind of relate to each place, but I just picked a little like sentence or two.
Well, it's interesting because I think that I've noticed a lot on social media where it seems like a lot of people have sort of been like digging through their stuff too. You know,
Yes.
like their yearbooks and their photo albums and sharing old this, that, and the other. And it seems like a lot of people are sort of like taking stock of their memory. You know what I mean? Like, what did it feel like to be out of the house in another world, in another place that one time? Or
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting how the world's changed.
Yeah, memory is something that has memory, history, that kind of stuff plays a lot into my textile work, looking at family memories, family history. And I have been going back into that stuff right now, but not necessarily all in my artwork. Like I'm exploring genealogy stuff again, trying to like, I feel like I understand more about me to know where I came from, even though those people don't exist or you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's something.
I pulled out my genealogy tree like a few weeks ago, literally, and read every single name that dated back to like the 1600s or something. My dad's side, it was crazy. And
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting. I think that, you know, a lot of people are sort of doing.
So I'm gonna try and point that piece there.
Yeah,
That's like,
hey, that's really good. You did it.
like a memory portrait, layered portrait of my grandmother from like an old passport photograph, or two passport photographs that are overlaid. And so like it's always been in my artwork.
It's just manifested itself in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I've been drawn to them personally. They caught my attention straight away.
Thanks.
I love
them. Shall I show a few others?
Yeah.
Okay, so that first one was like the first house that I lived in.
Oh, okay.
So this is kind of just in chronological order. So there's that little guy.
I like that guy. Say this house is gone now?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It's just like a nothing there.
Not wild?
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Oops. Sorry.
I like this house.
Yeah, this was probably the house I've lived in the longest in the US.
Okay.
That was in my childhood.
There's a lot of details in that house.
Yeah, probably because I remember a lot there. Is this the guy? Or that's not a house as much as this dorm rooms.
Where is dorm rooms? Where was this?
This is in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Interesting. The comparison between the two, the last one and that one. It's like two different worlds.
Yeah, that has more, the physical space of that I have less memory of, as much as events and things going on in space. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's this little guy.
I like that guy.
And that one is actually like one house down from this place.
Oh,
So I moved like one house down, or one apartment down, I guess is the.
that's wild. I've done that before. Just moved like,
Yeah, it's just like downstairs,
yeah,
past one house, and like up another.
yeah.
There's this one.
What does that one say?
I have to see. It says, we moved in the day before the Northeast blackout. There's a huge blackout in, I think, I would 2003 or 2005, not 15, 5, where there was like a whole power outage across the Northeast, and in some areas it was like no power for like 5 days. And
I remember that.
I was in one of those areas where no power for 5 days.
Yeah. For some reason, that house gave me like an energy of like something not so cool happened there.
Yeah.
That's why I was curious what it said.
And then this was like a trailer that's like split in two. So
Like
you have like two units within like one trailer. So this is like out in the country.
wow.
Yeah. And then this is the first place I lived in Alabama.
Looks very Alabama. I feel like I've seen that house.
It's down in Tuscaloosa. It feels like, yeah, it feels typical to like Alabama. I feel like lower houses, like one level, like that's,
Yeah.
because you know, tornadoes, you don't want to go up.
No, no.
And then this is like an apartment complex.
Yes. I feel like I've been there too.
Yeah, I think it was very typical of like a layout, you know, typical like apartment complex layout type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where I live now.
I love that one.
And I got details wrong with it. Even though I'm
crazy?
right here. Yeah.
Makes you wonder about a lot of things.
Yeah. Like what we pay attention to, what we don't pay attention to, and yeah. What we choose to ignore, and also
we pay attention to a lot of things, but sometimes I feel like it's the wrong things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, Miriam, thank you for taking time today to share your new work with us and talk about your process and everything. And I'm so glad to hear you're doing well and hanging in there.
Yeah.
In this crazy, wild time in which we are.
And thank you for talking to me. It actually made me realize I didn't even realize until we were talking, just like the different things that are laid together within my work, like these little memory houses, just thinking about my other older work or textile work, and not even realizing like how even when I think I'm in a different vein or area of work, there's still some connected.
Yeah, there's a subconscious message that I think is throughout your work that is meaningful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's so good to see you. I miss your face. And as soon as this is all done, we're going to have a big, huge art party.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I love you, and I will talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys.